In this tutorial I'm going to show you how to play PSP games on your Xbox Series S or Xbox Series X. And I find that using the standalone PSP emulator to be far more better than using RetroArch. And it seems that you can change a lot of the options under the PSP emulator, which makes things a lot more easier without any sort of hiccups or random crashes or any cause BIOS that you need to mess around with. The standalone PSP emulator has it all, and all you need to do is install it on your Series S or X and load PSP games. It's pretty straightforward. I'm going to show you how to do it. So first thing is you want to go onto your PC or Mac, and you want to go onto this website here, which I'll put a link in the description below. It's the Xbox One-HQ.com, and this is all the other emulators that you can get or for your Xbox. And now what we want is this one here, the PPSSPP. This is the version 1.9. So you want to click on that. You want to enable download. Enable download 1, which leads you to a website. You need to open this website and then just close it, and then enable download 2, open this website, close it, and then it should give you the option to download the emulator down here, so just click on that. If it doesn't automatically start downloading, then just click here or save as. This will now download. Now we want to get onto our Xbox to be able to transfer the files. So as before, use the remote access HTTPS link, type it in your browser, and then they will tell you to use your username and password, which on my previous video you should have set that up already, which you could double check if you haven't. You can also leave the username and password, but it does jeopardize your security. So once you're in your Xbox, you want to open the file. Actually, we want to extract the file. You should have a folder that looks like this, which has the PSP emulator and dependencies. So you want to click on add up here, choose the file, double click on the app, click next, choose file, dependencies, click next, and start. And this will then transfer the emulator to your Xbox. Now I have a bunch of ROMs in here, a bunch of PSP games. All of these are in the ISO format. So once you download, your PSP ROMs, unzip them and then just leave them as the RAR. And a lot of the PSP games you can just run off a USB stick or a USB drive. I'm using a 2.5 Western Digital drive. If you do need to transfer anything that's larger than a few gigs, some games might not run perfectly on the USB, and they might run better on the internal storage of your Xbox. Then you have to transfer this onto your internal Xbox. If you haven't checked my other video, I showed you how to remote access to your Xbox, but I'll put in a link in the description for full details of how to do that. But just for a quick recap, I just go on File Explorer, I click on Browse up here. Now I need to put this code into my command prompt. It adds the username and the password, and it links it to this address here, so you don't always have to add the username and password. So I click enter, credential added successfully, and then I copy this link here. I open up a file explorer, I right click, I press paste, and now we're inside our Xbox Series internal storage. I click on Windows Apps, I double click on this, which is the this is the RetroArch folder. You can put this anywhere else, but just to keep your ROMs into one place, and if you do use RetroArch, then you can add your PSP games under this folder. So that is one way of easily just transferring ROMs from your PC onto your Xbox Series via the network. Another way is you can basically copy this onto, copy the ROMs onto your external hard drive or USB drive, and then plug that in your Xbox, and then open up my file browser, and then basically just transfer it from the My Files browser. Right, so once that is done, we can revert to our Xbox, and I'm going to unplug my external hard drive and plug this back into my Xbox, and I'm going to test out some of these games. Okay, so as you can see, we have our PSP emulator here. It's the gold version. Right, so like I said before, the benefits of using this standalone emulator is the fact that it's much easier to use than the RetroArch. It's less buggy than the PSP core in RetroArch, and there's a lot more options that you can mess around with, because I know sometimes RetroArch doesn't always save certain settings that you set, but with this there is a lot more options, as well as networking as well, which I haven't messed around with. Right, so first and first, go into settings. I'm going to click on audio and just change this down to maybe about 8. I find that 10 is a little bit too loud. I am then going to go on to controls. We're going to map our controls now. It was already mapped from previous, but you can click on any of these, D-pad up, and then choose the right input. So this should be right. Circle is B, X is A, square is X, triangle is Y. Start and select, and as you may know, the PSP only had L and R, it didn't have the trigger buttons, so the shortcut this is set to enter the PSP emulator menu is left trigger. So where it says pause, this is assigned to keyboard escape, left trigger, or the home button. So you can change this to, I don't know, right trigger maybe, or something else to assign to the PSP menu. But obviously you don't want to assign this to any of the other buttons that you will need to use for the game itself, else it will just keep pausing the game. So the controls are fine. You can also change graphics, the resolution. I find 3 is a good resolution. Everything looks a lot more smoother. 3 times PSP. Everything else you can leave as default. probably show the FPS while we test out some games. Now the only downfall with this like UI is there doesn't seem to be a place to have like a playlist. I mean, I think this is the internal storage. I guess you can have the playlists under this folder here, which is it's the default PSP emulator location. So you can transfer your games where it says O-users. In my case, all my games are on a USB, so I'm going to click load and then go onto your external USB device, find where you put your ROMs. Obviously I can't tell you where to download these ROMs, but you can search for PSP ROMs online. I'm sure you'll be able to find many out there. Let's try Crisis Core. Everything loads a lot more quicker than RetroArch. So I can fast forward cutscenes by pressing the right analog in.
Eliminate them and regain control of the train.
Oh yeah! Get serious!
Oh.
Zach speaking.
Making progress, Zach?
What's going on, Aunt Jill? Why are we fighting Shinra troops?
They're Wutai troops in disguise. Now, head to the open area above.
Towards Sector 8.
Yes, but first you have to clear a path.
Clear a path?
You'll see what I mean. Be careful.
So I can cut loose, right?
Use some discretion.
It's showtime.
So we're getting good FPS rate here.
Concentrate.
I'm feeling it!
The resolution looks pretty good. I mean, like, I could probably set some of the settings of the graphics so everything looks a little bit more smoother and less jagged. And you probably put some kind of filter on there as well.
Conflict resolved.
We can make a internal save state as well. So let's do that. Oops. So within the PSP emulator there is your own save states. So we can just load this. at the same spot instantly. Right, to back out the game, I press left trigger and then I go to exit to menu. We can change some settings here while in the game. Full screen. Right, let's try another game. Let's try GTA.
Hey, so there he is, huh? Hey. So listen.
There's a little bit of audio crackling here and there, audio slowdown.
You've been lying low for a long time, so I want you to take it easy.
But this seems to be an issue with when your controller is idle.
You need a job.
The game itself kind of slows down a little bit.
What more could a family guy ask for? Even my
Or the audio.
so good.
Mr. Leone, I thought we got history. I mean, I've done a lot for this family. And now you're expecting me to take orders from this... Well, it just doesn't seem right.
Tony, I know what you did, and no one is more grateful than me, honestly. But the idea that you walk in here and start to question my leadership right away is...
We're getting a good FPS.
I got you a nice little place to stay, Tony. It's got you...
I never do a girl that on a first date.
So the game is running really smoothly. It looks really good on a big screen TV. Like I said, the only downside with this is whenever your controller goes idle, the audio slows down. So I probably just need to change some of the graphic settings or the audio settings maybe. But it is working fine. Constant 30 frames per second.
Jesus, Tony, you drive like a bitch!
I have a co-ed massage in 5 minutes!
So yeah, GTA runs pretty good. So that's pretty much how you install the PPSSPP emulator on your Xbox Series S or Xbox Series X. I believe this also works on the Xbox One consoles, but you know, the performance might be different because of the CPU not being as powerful. And yeah, just a nice little standalone emulator which actually runs a lot better than the RetroArchto core, and you don't have to mess around with BIOSes or cores. It just loads as it is, no sort of messing around. So I hope this tutorial has been useful for you guys. If you have any questions or comments, please leave below. And yeah, I'll probably put up another Xbox Series tutorial, maybe with another emulator at some point. And yeah, Thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you again in another tutorial.